have no idea on how I want to start this video other than saying that your girl Eloise is just, it's a chop for me. She's not it, okay? This girl has been the grind to my gear ever since season 1, and I've tried to get over her and really enjoy the show even with her mess in it. But you writers are so good. Oh my god, you really made her the right amount of controversial and annoying to get people talking. And you know what, child? You know what? You won, because here I am for y'all. You know what? Actually, you know what? I do know how I want to start this. 1 second. Pause.
Now let me say I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress.
No, but let me stop, because some of the fits were cute. They do eat down. But this girl, Eloise, oh my gosh, she's so into herself and her own ideologies that she doesn't even try to get to know people or be a nice human being for that matter. And for that, I have arrived. So I'm sorry, but not sorry, because I'm tearing your girl down. But what I will say is, let me slow down first and give some backstory, okay? So for those of you who do not know what the fuck I'm talking about, or who, for that matter, that I'm talking about, I'm gonna give you the briefest rundown that I possibly can. Woo! Because I have a lot to get off of my chest in a very short amount of time. So we're running through it, okay, babes? Okay. All right, stick with me here. Anyways, Bridgerton is a Netflix-produced drama based off of Julia Quinn's best-selling series of the same name. Bridgerton is set in a very sexy, very lavish, and very competitive world of like Regency London, very high society, okay? So we're given upper echelons here. The series follows about 8 Bridgerton siblings. So that's Anthony, Benedict, Colin, Daphne, Eloise, Francesca, Gregory, and Heinz. Yeah, baby, you're gonna have to tell me how to say your name. I'm so sorry. But they are all in search for love during like the social season, and basically how they're navigating like the Regency era in London and England at this time. Each season focuses mainly on one of the Bridgertons figuring out their feelings for somebody that they've met during this time, right? So it focuses on one sibling per season, pretty much, right? However, when we meet Eloise in season 1, we learn that she is the second oldest daughter of the Bridgerton family, and though she's not out yet, meaning that she can't be courted for like marriage and things of that nature, she will within the next couple of years. However, she does tell us, and she managed to tell us everybody, that she is not with the shits at all and does not want to be married, and finds it to be something that is actually like not even worth her time or anybody's time. Actually, okay, she's an advocate.
Why must our only options be to squawk and settle, or to never leave the nest? What if I want to fly?
We learn that she has pretty much one friend, who is Penelope Featherington, who is another very like awkward girl for her time. She's different. She's usually stays to herself, mostly because most people don't talk to her. So Pen is wealthy, but not as wealthy as like Eloise. Eloise is filthy rich, okay? And it shows. There's definitely a difference. But we see that Eloise is different for a girl in her era because she cares about women's rights, and she's very curious about a woman columnist, named Lady Whistledown, who writes in gossips about all the scandals that are happening in London, okay? Since she does not know who this person is, she shifts her focus for the first 2 seasons from finding love, a love match, some type of match, anything really, to figuring out who Lady Whistledown is. However, unbeknownst to her, Lady Whistledown is her best friend, Pen, who uses like writing as like a means of expression, especially because she's always overlooked by the ton. Like, this girl is always in a corner somewhere, okay? But it's a way for her to exercise, right, her love for writing while getting her lick back. We stand, queen. We stand. But unfortunately for these two, Elle finds out that Pen is Lady Whistledown, and she's hurt that Pen would not only lie to her about this, but would also write about her. And that's a mess. So you gotta watch season 2, because I can't explain it. It's just too much. And ultimately it causes their friendship to fracture. Okay, I think that's all you need to know for now, so you're all caught up. Oh wait, no. Also, Pen is in love with Colin, Elle's older brother, and this coming season, the season that we're already in, season 3, is about how they get together. And it's messy because the girls don't like each other anymore. Catch it. Okay, now I'm all done. We're all caught up. I think when it came to Eloise, I was able to act like she wasn't there most of the time because most of the time she wasn't, okay? She was a side character that would show up to create tension and problems, mostly because she was obsessed with figuring out who Lady Whistledown was, right? She admired this character until she talked about her, right? And really wanted to figure out who she was. And Eloise is kind of like a stand-in to remind us constantly that all of this love stuff and the societal expectations sometimes can be bad. But now she is such a major plot point that I cannot get over it, okay? Since Penelope is the center of attention for the show now, I now have to care about this friendship more than I want to. Or excuse me, lack thereof, okay? Now don't get me wrong, Pen is controversial herself, and she has a lot of things that she probably should be repenting for, okay? But that damn Eloise, she just walks around acting like her shit don't stink, and I am dedicating this video to cussing her out, girl. Please, come down, all right? All right, anyway, now the first thing that I want to address, her most egregious offense, okay, is the fact that she is not a girl's girl at all. And you might think that she is because she hangs around with Pen and she rejects all the men, but let me tell you something. She is not that great when you take the time to peel back the layers, okay? She's really just annoying. I hate saying that, but it's so true. Anytime that Pen and Eloise link up, Elle just starts running her mouth about all the woes of being a rich socialite and that she just can't escape this life and going on about the barbarity of being matched with a man. No, that is kind of barbaric, but anyway, listen, there's barely like a hey, hello, how you doing, girl, before she just starts recruiting this girl Pen into all of her shenanigans. It's really frustrating too, to say the least, because Pen just seems like she's used to her wants, her needs, her thoughts being pushed to the side so that others can kind of take up space. And instead of her friend, her best friend, seeing this and making room for the both of them to exist, she exploits it by talking Pen's ear off anytime that she can about how horrible everything is.
I've never understood the fashion for feathers in the hair. Why would a woman want to draw more notice to the fact that she's like a bird squawking for a man's attention in some bizarre ritual?
Girl, oh, save me the story. It gets tiring really fast, and I don't know how Pen doesn't just look at this girl side-eyeing her and be like, are you okay in the brain? I get it, because society really does suck. It does. The arbitrary rules and the respectability politics are really asinine. But Eloise, please take it from somebody who knows from first-hand experience that you would lose all of your friends fast if you do not know how to make room for more than your own voice. You understand what I'm saying? In the 3 seasons that we have witnessed Eloise and Pen's friendship, I cannot even recall a time that they got together, talked, and it did not focus or shift to center on Eloise and anything that was pegging her in the moment, okay? She does not give any weight to her friend's desires or things that interest her because she does not care what Pen or anyone for that matter has to say. And Pen is her best friend. Get into it. And my theory for this is because she was never really friends with Pen to begin with, not good ones anyway, okay? And I can tell that I'm not the only one who thinks this way or thinks that this girl sucks, because the show is trying to tell us too. That makes it very, very clear. Eloise might see Penelope as her confessor or her secret sharer, but Penelope obviously doesn't feel comfortable sharing her own secrets. And why is that? Any of y'all ever had that friend that you felt comfortable enough to get food with or comfortable seeing them every few months, but that was it because that's all you could stomach, all you could handle, because they never talk about anything other than themselves, or if they do ask you what you know or how you're doing, they barely mean it or pay attention. Well, yeah, that's what I think was happening here. Because no funny, how do you go years without figuring out that your friend is Lady Whistledown? Like, the girl could only keep the secret because nobody was paying attention to her or asking her, hey girl, what do you do in your spare time? And that is exactly my point. You see, there's a moment in the show where Eloise makes the connection, that Pin is Lady Whistledown. And my first thought was, well, girl, if you could shut up every once in a while, you would have known this a long time ago. Pin has been collecting information and gossiping for years, and you never noticed that her and Lady Whistledown are writing about the same kind of stuff? You did not care about that girl or listen to any time that she spoke, mostly because I don't think that she thinks Eloise is like anybody is worth listening to. You know what I mean? I think Elle writes this stuff off because she doesn't think that anyone else is thinking or acting like her or going against the grain, which is ironic because a lot of the characters actually do have complex relationships around how society functions and struggles and like what their places are in this world. And I feel like Eloise would actually notice this if she took the time to like put a cork in it and listen for once, but she can't because she's full of herself. She's very self-centered, and it's driving me crazy. I actually have this theory that intellectuals, or like academics if you will, have a hard time listening to anybody that doesn't share their very like specific views, because they have learned something, right? They now are in the know. They know better than everyone else, and they don't really recognize that it alienates them from almost everybody else because they're operating from this level and they think everybody else is beneath them down here at this level. Like, for example, she can't really relate to her sister Daphne in season 1 because Daphne has this very like strong pressure to feel perfect, right? Or try to find love, or at least like a good match that she can, because she is an eldest daughter. Like this is like she's setting the vibe for everybody else, right? And I think like Eloise just simply doesn't want to relate because to her, love or finding it in this function that it currently operates in this society is beneath her, arbitrary if you will. But it keeps her from connecting with her siblings because she can't reconcile with their own decisions on how to navigate life, even if she just doesn't agree.
So Daphne may be in love. Does she think it an accomplishment? What exactly has she accomplished then? She certainly did not build that man.
And look, the only reason why I feel this way sometimes about Eloise is because I felt like I have been Eloise, especially the whole academics theory thing. I have been the person who has struggled to, I don't know, be around other people, or people have struggled to be around me, essentially because I shot down a lot of their feelings or thoughts because it wasn't up to date with the latest academic theory or thought process, right? And it took time to realize that two things can actually be happening at once. Like, the system and how it can affect us is fucked. And people can want a happy life, to find joy and love, even with the understanding that it might be fucked. And what Eloise fails to understand is that everything that is bad in their lifetimes might not be changed immediately just because she is now aware. These things take time, they take effort and community. But here comes Elle screaming at the top of the rooftop about how foolish everybody is being. And what help is that, girl? The answer is none, in case you were confused. Eloise, you know what? Eloise is the type of person that, means really well, but kind of sucks up all of the air in the room because they have all the answers, right? And won't inhale long enough to hear a thought that is not organically her own. She assumes that since people in the society have to participate it, just like she does, that their feelings are not valid. Like in season 3, Elle makes a new friend. Her name is Cressida, right? Cressida kind of asks Elle, hey, what do you think about all the things going on in terms of the love match, the marriage? It's all a joke, but what's your thoughts on it? And the show tries to make it a joke out of the fact that Elle just kind of starts going on this long soliloquy about all of her ideas. So long, in fact, that she doesn't see like a physical shift in Cressida's interest, or that, it clearly isn't a conversation because, both of them aren't talking. Because by the end of this conversation, Cressida is clearly bored and actually runs off to try and go get the attention of her new love interest. Eat that down.
A time there would be if we did not always have to think about marriage. The time we would have to read or exchange ideas or do anything that isn't entirely for the purpose of ensnaring a husband.
That is interesting.
Isn't it?
No, I meant your brother is walking right up to Penelope and Lord Debling. We shall return to this conversation another time. Yes?
Though it's play for laughs, I actually believe that she does hear what some of Eloise was saying and might even like agree with some of her points. But how does this help her right now? Like, she's not even having a real conversation. She's just kind of like listening over and over again. She doesn't get to speak, nor do we know or find out what her own feelings about these ideas are, because, you know, Eloise does not give her a chance to speak or share her thoughts or take her seriously. And we'll never know because that girl doesn't ask. And she ain't gonna. She struggles being Cressida's friend more than Pin because she cannot push her weight around as much as she used to.
I have a theory.
Eloise, it is quite late.
A good theory about Lady Whistledown. I thought she had to be a servant, but I was wrong. Quite wrong. Because, well, who truly has the time and means to be that remarkable? Who would actually be invited to all of the parties, able to hear things unnoticed by others?
Yeah, perhaps we could discuss it tomorrow.
Lady Whistledown is someone free and
I think Pin enjoyed Eloise because they had an imagination that was shared, like, of how they wanted their lives to go, right? Of this independence that they both really crave. But I think Pin was willing to take a step back and be softer in her words with Elle to kind of preserve their relationship. Pin wanted to make Elle feel like all of her feelings and ideas were valid. And don't get me wrong, they are valid, but they aren't the only ones that should hold any validity in the room, right? And we see that with Cressida, she's not having that because she doesn't have to, right? Nor does she want to be pushed over. She wants a genuine friendship that allows her to have the ability to share what's going on with her, right? And also support Elle in whatever she's passionate about. But like, Elle does not know how to do this. She just simply does not know how to be a good friend. I love that, like, Cressida challenges her to stop and think about the things that she's saying around and to people, that she can't just hurt or hurl insults at people just because she feels like attacked or even overwhelmed. That's some like really white woman privilege stuff going on. But it, like, Cressida forces her to take a step back and kind of see how her place in the world provides her with a comfort that those around her cannot have. And she damn near kind of rubs it in their faces, insulting them for not going against the grain or the status quo. Which is kind of ironic because she is not the revolutionary that she thinks that she is, right? Eloise is all about women having a voice and being heard and being able to make their way in space in the world. But outside of complaining, Elle does really like none of those things, right? Which is kind of funny to me, because the person that she kind of least expected, or the person that she like least listened to anyway, actually took the risk that Elle thinks that she is taking by chatting shit all day long. Okay? And yes, I am British sometimes. Anyway, in season 2, there is a guy that Eloise likes, but he is from like the working class, and you know that is just like a no-no of someone of her status. She initially is like using him, trying to figure out like who Lady Whistledown is, but she ends up liking him. But she doesn't really take into account how her actions not only are affecting herself, her family, but also how it would affect his livelihood as well. Theo tells her that, you know, she kind of likes to dip her toe into the other side of things to kind of give her a reprieve from her own life, but she retreats back into the comfortable, protected world that she is used to anytime that she is challenged. She still enjoys her comfy white life and those dresses and like reading all day and then being able to spew out whatever she wants afterwards. But she doesn't really break out of like the economic class to help the poor. She doesn't burn her dresses or organize groups. She's just like the girl that like doesn't want to get married and is making that like everybody else's problem and then wrapping that in the bow of the name of like social justice, right? But this girl is not like oppressed in the other ways that we see that the girls in this period are. In fact, like she forgets that she's really privileged, especially for somebody in this time period. Her father and her brothers are and were viscounts, and she can choose not to marry or have kids and still live extremely comfortably. And Penelope and Cressida wouldn't. Their futures would be so different if they could not figure out a way to marry or have someone take care of them, because they would struggle financially mostly, and would most likely not be able to continue being friends with them, because they would be social outcasts if they were poor and not be invited to all of these lavish parties and be at the same functions as they were before. And the show makes this very contrast painfully clear. So I struggle to believe that Elle cannot see how these things translate to the people she has deemed the closest of the closest friends that she has. Cressida is the only child, a girl, mind you, and there is a lot of pressure for her to get married. But guess who could literally care less? Exactly.
And neither am I. We're not all so lucky to have the support of our families as you do. Marrying may be my only way of feeling such support. Lord Debling is good-natured. And most of all, my choice. Will you help me?
I do have a few books on natural history I could lend you.
Perfect.
Cressida shares with her fears with Elle of being alone and being sold off to a cruel or older man to avoid being a spinster. She shares that she does not have the freedom of being a middle child and having the opportunity to kind of fade into the background the way Elle does. But Elle literally does not give a fuck. Any chance that she got, she was telling Cressida to stop looking for another man or discrediting her feelings and pushing her to take on her beliefs, because she felt like they were the ones that was right and no, wrong. Put the little splashy no thing. Anyway, unbeknownst to Elle, she is the embodiment of how disconnected the privileged are on real societal matters of any kind. Not only in a social justice lens, but also from a human being lens as well. Elle is in abundance of wealth. She has title. She also receives a bunch of love and acceptance and indulgence from her family, but she is blind to the fact that neither of her closest friends has these things, and that is so weird to me.
People have real problems, mature problems that have nothing to do with the secret identity of some silly writer.
And you are so mature now.
And listen, if anybody who didn't watch this show commented and said some of the things that I'm saying, or we're being really shallow and bad about these characters, I would tell them to go stub their toe, because it is more nuanced than what I am saying on the surface level. And I really do want to recognize that I'm just ooh, Elle bad, right? But Elle is a very complex character, and I think most of her bad behaviors stem from her being very immature and young. It is an ignorance that we all kind of share. She is self-centered and also radical at the same time in her opinions, because she's just starting to kind of figure out who she is. Most of us, when we first were becoming aware of the world around us, and we are able to see for the first time all the injustices of the world. And I do not blame Elle for wanting to share her knowledge that she is gaining in this formative time, but she is not learning how harmful this knowledge can be when it is used to chastise and criticize her loved ones. If we look back, she is rarely using her big girl voice on people outside of her circle, but is extremely vicious with the ones that are inside of it if they are not conforming to her own ideology or wants. And that's just not okay for me, okay? The girl means well, but she lacks an awareness and can be extremely mean. When Elle unintentionally started that rumor about her brother Colin helping Penn find a husband, she goes to Cressida and cusses her out afterwards, thinking that it was her fault that the information got out there, without any regard to who her friend Cressida actually has been up to that point and shown her who she could be. My girl is not a snitch, okay, Elle? So you better watch yourself. We don't like that over here. Anyway, but it isn't until after Cressida tells her about that self that we see Elle take a step back and evaluate the situation and be and see the part that she played in it. But I am hoping, I won't lie, that this everyone is against me phase, and just like everything sucks phase is just a phase. And we are able to see like her start to critically think about how her actions cause problems to those around her. Her friends and her family are so accommodating to her and the struggles that she is sharing with them. And I empathize with their like split desire to like on one hand support her and make sure that they understand what her dreams are, but she never gives that support back or that understanding back, right? She needs to either get in the booth and step into this like personality fully that she believes that she is, like get real crazy about the ills of society and be like that real outcast, or I need her to tone it down so that the people in your life that love you can hold space with you, not just for you, you know? One of the things that I think that the show tries to hit home is the special bond between like Elle and Penn. And though I have like clearly my issues with it, I think Elle liked Penn because she thought that they wanted the same things. And to a certain extent, I think that they did.
Like marriage.
You do not care about marriage.
Well, what if I do? I cannot expect you to understand. Not everyone can be a pretty Bridgerton.
Like, the idea of being free to think and be independent women who can nurture their passions was something that they share. But I think that Elle failed to realize that men were rejecting the idea of marriage to Penn, and not necessarily Penn rejecting the idea of marriage in general. And I think that that was like due to her not getting to know her friend and who she truly was. And I'm really happy that the last couple of seasons really woke that up. It makes Elle have to sit back and reevaluate what it means to be a good friend to not only Penn but also to Cressida, to be like an active listener and a participant in other people's lives and not just what's like plaguing hers, right? Now, do I think that the second half of season 3 will do this? No. But I am going to hold out hope for this girl that she learns to tone it down and like get off her very high horse so that people can love her. Do I think it will happen? I actually don't know, because the girl really just right now is not equipped. She doesn't know how to, and I think that they need this conflict so, you know, she'll be able to relate to Penn again and they can be friends again and blah blah blah. But let me tell y'all something. Let this be a warning to the rest of you that if you don't chill the fuck out, you are gonna have to suffer. No, I'm just joking. But I will say maybe I'll make a video for you, so if that's scary, get your shit together, dolls. All right, y'all, I think I've done enough for this video. Thank you all for staying with me and watching it all the way through. I am interested in your thoughts and like what y'all think about this girl. Like, please let me know if I'm the only one who hates her or if I'm just like bugging out in the comments below. Like, I would love to know what y'all think. I hope to see you all on my next video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see y'all soon.